What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday, and it is time to talk about some fragrances that have been in my rotation. This week was a really nice fall weather week. It was a little bit cold, sometimes a little bit warmer, but I got a couple fragrances in the mail recently and I got a chance to try them on skin, and today we're going to be covering those plus some extra fun ones that I just threw in from my collection from my weekly rotation. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around, make yourself comfortable, and let's jump right in. What is going on, everyone? It's Eli with Common Sense. I hope you had an amazing week so far. Today we're going to be covering some fragrances that I just absolutely love, but as always, let me know down below in the comments what you've been rocking this week, or if you have any new pickups or just fragrance obsessions. I would love to hear about it and just chat with you down below. So without further ado, let's get started. For Monday, I decided to go with a really interesting fragrance. It was one of the first Middle Eastern fragrances that I picked up from the house of Maison Alhambra, and I forgot kind of how it smelled, and I wanted to just refamiliarize myself with how it smelled. And this one is Zaffiro Crafted Oud. I always want to say carved oud because it's so close to the actual fragrance that this is cloning, but man goodness, this one has a beautiful aquatic, aromatic, woody quality, and to me it reminds me a lot of Tom Ford's Oud Wood. So if you like that really just airy, just slightly dry, but at the same time kind of aquatic, wet wood that almost gives off like a driftwood vibe. So it's not like an animalistic oud, but it's going to be a really just aromatic and smooth oud. Then I think this is a great way to get into the world of oud fragrances. It's kind of musky. It almost feels like a white, soft linen oud. So it's clean, it's kind of musky, but at the same time has a really nice dry, slightly just woody and herbal quality to it. It's kind of peppery at the same time, but this one is a masterpiece and I absolutely loved this one. And I know for Monday, just starting off with a nice, strong, long-lasting, clean fragrance. You know, when you're going to be meeting with some of the executives, this is going to be a perfect fragrance for that because it makes you confident and it makes you smell fantastic. So that one is Zaffiro's Crafted Oud. Now for Tuesday, I went with a new fragrance. Like I said, I picked up a couple recently, and this one is actually a discontinued fragrance. I found it on the Facebook Marketplace. Somebody was selling it for $40. I've been seeing this one going for at least 90, sometimes even upwards of $100, but this one is YSL's La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense. I believe this one is discontinued. I haven't really seen this in stores for a really long time, and it's been harder to find online, but this fragrance is a masterpiece. Oh my goodness. It smells like the original YSL La Nuit de l'Homme, but it adds a beautiful buttery lipsticky iris in there. And so you have that really nice rounded, slightly sweet, sensual, spicy cardamom in here that gives it just a nice warmth and that beautiful, just ambery, radiant quality. But I absolutely love the leather and the iris that they add in this. So it kind of reminds me of a few fragrances. It reminds me of Dior Homme Intense. It kind of reminds me of Giorgio Armani fragrance. Oh yeah, this one right here. It kind of reminds me of Queer's Azzure. And man, these fragrances are really similar, but I absolutely love the kind of waxy, buttery, slightly salty vibe that you get from the lipsticky iris combined with that leather. So if you like leather and iris fragrances and you like that Dior Homme DNA, then this is basically that combined with the beautiful, just sensual date night fragrance that is La Nuit de l'Homme. So this one was perfect for Tuesday. Yeah, I do wish that this one lasted slightly longer, but again, it just smells absolutely fantastic. I don't mind just reapplying on myself, but that one is La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense by YSL. Now on Wednesday, I decided to go with another discontinued fragrance. Maybe I was just in the mood for something special this week, but this one I went with Roja Fetish, and I have a really funny story about this fragrance. I remember I was with my cousin down in Los Angeles. We had stopped at Beverly Hills Perfumery, and I remember the guy over there, his name is Alan, super nice guy, and I love talking about fragrances with him and just picking his brain. But yeah, I remember he said that he had some of these in stock. He had some testers and he gave me a really good price on these. But I remember I went back and I was like, hey man, do you have any more fetishes? And Just the way that it came out was really funny because I was like, yeah, you got any fetishes? So stupid. But yeah, this fragrance is a masterpiece. It reminds me of a very expensive high-end fragrance, and the notes that they use in here are absolutely incredible. You have some leather, you have some castoreum, so it's a little bit animalistic. I believe there's also some fig and some like a real bitter lime in the opening. So it does have like a very strange quality in the opening. It smells very old school, but it just smells like smoky incense, smoky resins, and that really animalistic leather. But I absolutely love the tartness of the lime combined with those animalistic castoreum and the leather. And it's got a nice bit of sweetness. So to my nose, it almost smells like a burning leaves and leather fragrance. So it is just beautiful, and I'm kind of sad they discontinued this one, but I am really glad that I got a bottle. So if you're in LA, check out that spot, and he may still have some left. But that one was Roja Fetish, and again, it lasted all day. Never really had any issues with these really strong Roja fragrances. But for Thursday, the next day, I went with this bad boy. Despite the super crazy looking bottle, you may think this is a niche fragrance, you know, this is gonna be like $400-500, but this is actually about a $40 fragrance. This is from Lattafa. This is Lattafa Sehr, and it's been a little bit since I've smelled this one. Occasionally I'll just pick it up and spray it on my skin, but I love this stuff. It's very vanillic. It almost has a slight Play-Doh vibe, and it's very similar to Tom Ford's Vanilla Sex, but that one does have that vanilla Play-Doh vibe. But I feel like this one, it's just a salty, creamy, lactonic vanilla, and it's not quite as synthetic as the Tom Ford. So I know some people were kind of disappointed with the performance and just the quality of that one, but I absolutely love this. It's also got a little bit of like a tonka cinnamon sweetness in there. So the muskiness, I think in the opening and as it dries down, it definitely stays very prominent, but I love just how salty and just gourmand this fragrance is. It's basically just a vanilla gourmand bomb. It smells a little bit familiar, again, like some of those Tom Ford vanilla fragrances, but yeah, this is super, super unisex. It could be a little bit feminine leaning, you might argue, especially because it's super sweet and kind of lactonic, but I think a guy can definitely pull this off because of those dark spices and some of that kind of peppery vibe in the dry down. But this stuff is powerful, and it smells even better now that it's kind of dried down a little bit and macerated, but this stuff is a hidden gem for sure. That one is Lattafa Sehr. Now on Friday, I also went with a super long-lasting fragrance. I did 2 sprays of this stuff, and it lasted well over 12 hours. This stuff is no joke whatsoever. This one is Amouage Search. Now, there's something so incredible about this juice. It reminds me of just a very cool and also very warm and spicy fragrance quality. So when I smell this, I immediately think of an old-fashioned or smoked old-fashioned because it's got like a smoky incensey vibe. I think there's frankincense in this, but you also have like a really bitter orange vibe in the very top that kind of reminds me of those orange bitters that's used in a smoked old-fashioned. And some of the woods in here, again, the incense and some of those resins, it just smells so rich, and it's a unique and strange smelling fragrance because it's very dark, it's smoky, but at the same time it's super fresh, and it just has a really crisp, almost like an icy feel to it. So when it's super hot, I do like to spray this one because I feel like it just has a cooling effect. So yeah, just the quality of this juice is fantastic, and it's worth every cent. And that one is Amouage Search. And then in the afternoon, I decided to go with a really nice Middle Eastern fragrance I just picked up, and I've just made a reel about this one. This one is Zimaya's Taraf Black. So if you're looking for an $18 or $20 alternative to Montal's Arabian's Tonka, man, this stuff smells so good. Don't fall over. I got a tiny little bottle of this stuff, and I think they're very similar. They're slightly different in the opening, but I just love the way that this stuff smells. It almost smells like a slightly more designer version of Arabian's Tonka, but the dry down is really where that magic's at because it's got that nice sweet Tonka, that designer gourmand quality, but it's also got a nice bit of muskiness, some peppery woods in the opening that almost smells like a slight pencil shaving vibe, just slight. But as it dries down, you get some more of that saffron, and I think that saffron could have been also causing that pencil shaving vibe but I feel like as this macerates, it's gonna get even better. The saffron tonka and just some of those really nice, I think there's also agar wood in this, but the way that these notes blend together, it smells like a really nice designer Middle Eastern fragrance. And if you like Arabian's tonka, for 18 bucks, this stuff is a no-brainer. And I wanna say it lasted about 7 hours on my skin, so it lasted even longer on clothes. And I remember I sniffed my shirt, you know, today, and it still smells like it a couple days later. So this stuff is really good. And that one is Zimaya's Taraf Black. Saturday was yesterday. It was super chill at home. I was working on some personal projects, doing some art stuff, and I went with this fragrance. This one is by Fragrance World, and actually it's French Avenue. This one is Azzure Aoud. So this fragrance, when I first smelled it, I didn't particularly like it. Something about the passion fruit note in there, I think it was passion fruit, but it was like a tropical fruity note combined with some beautiful jammy rose and agar wood, but for some reason, I didn't quite like it all that much. But it's been a couple weeks since I've got it, and this stuff, it is absolutely heavenly. It's got a really nice smoky agar wood, and I love the agar wood note that they use in this. It's kind of, yeah, it's just smoky. It smells so good. It's almost a little bit animalistic, and you just have a nice depth to it. And the jammy rose in here adds a nice floral touch without being too overly feminine or too floral. And I actually am starting to really come around to that fruity note in the top, but it's just a really dark, oudy fragrance with a nice bit of that fruity florals in the top. And I do like that passion fruit note. And I remember as this dried down, I just absolutely loved the smoky kind of burnt woods vibe as it dried down. And it's got a nice bit of sweetness too. So it's really checking all of those boxes where you just want a fragrance that kind of just satisfies your brain. It makes it turn a little bit and you're like, oof, that is a complicated but really well blended fragrance. But yeah, maybe you just have to give it a couple weeks and it's gonna mellow out and smell even better. But that one is the French Avenue Azzure Aoud. Now today, I went with a couple of my friends and my brother. We went on a really long walk outside. It was kind of warm outside, but we still had a ton of fun. And I went with this fragrance. This stuff is perfect for outdoor venues, or if you go to, you know, work and you're working in close quarters and you want to just be smelled by everybody. This stuff is Lattafa Pride. This one is Art of Arabia 1. Now this is going to be a Louis Vuitton Imagination fragrance dupe. Now this stuff is a wonderful blend of sweet, aquatic, floral, and slightly spicy, but again, it's aquatic. So it's got a nice bit of sweetness from some of the citruses that they use in here. I wanna say it's like grapefruit or something in the top, but it's very juicy. And as this dries down, you get a beautiful, complicated amber. It's kind of aquatic and it just smells like just really nice citrus water. And this stuff is just beautiful. And I feel like it also has a green tea note in here that's found in the original. So it's gonna be green, herbal, aquatic, but at the same time, very warm and just really, really comforting. And I absolutely love the musk that's in the dry down. Again, it's very musky. It's kind of salty and peppery at the same time. And it just smells like an insanely expensive fragrance, and I know it pushes off like crazy in the opening, and especially, you know, for the first 4 hours. So you can probably do 4 or 5 sprays and you'll be smelling like this the entire day, especially on your clothes. And I wouldn't even mind spraying this just in my car because it just smells that amazing. And you can get it for 40 bucks. So this one is really, really good. It's underrated and it's one of my favorite Louis Vuitton Imagination clones. So if you're interested in me doing an Imagination clone battle, let me know down below because I'd love to kind of compare some of the fragrances that I do own, because, you know, as a YouTuber, I do have multiple versions, multiple clones of the same fragrance. I feel like it drives me crazy sometimes, but I'm like, I need to know which one's the best. So let me know down in the comments if that sounds interesting to you. That was my week in fragrance. We had 8 really cool fragrances, wildly different budgets, but I absolutely love doing these videos. And also, if you haven't seen my latest video that I put right before this one, I rated your perfume collections. So if you're interested in that, consider checking out this video right up here. And I have part 2 coming out very, very soon, probably right after this actually. But thank you all so much for watching. Have an amazing week. You stay safe out there. I'm Eli with Common Sense. And until the next time, bye-bye.